And I was just like, oh, this is going to get spicy. Here's something I don't think anybody else knows. My brother was invited back as well. First opportunity I get, I'm taking money and I'm leaving.
What's up, guys? It's Ava and Ivy, and today we have a very special guest. We have Kareem player 406.
One thing I want to point out, very first thing, Kareem, you're actually the person that got me in season 2 because they show a clip of you from trivia and I was in the background and I was
yeah.
I'm in season 2, like, let's go. I was so hype about that.
Love that.
But yeah, we're excited to have you on. We're excited to hear your perspective on everything that went down. Obviously, your time was a little short-lived on season 2, but I feel like you expected something else to happen with the bluff game, and it turned out being a little different. So we'll talk about it in a bit. But let's just start out with how you found out you were on season 2. Like, when did you find out you were returning, and was it kind of like a surprise to you, or how was that?
Yeah, a little bit of a surprise. So I don't know how far I can share into this, but let's see. We filmed season 2 back in like June, and I probably got the call probably like 2 to 3 months prior. And I'm not gonna say who called, but somebody, you guys know who it is. Somebody high up in production called, and he was like, this is why you answer random phone numbers. Cause it was literally like, I don't know, probably like 9 a.m., 8 a.m. And I was still asleep.
gosh.
And I picked up the phone and he's like, hey, can I talk to you about your car's limited car warranty? And I was like, wait. And then he said who he was. So we started talking and everything. And here's something I don't think anybody else knows. Well, a couple people may know. My brother was invited back as well.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so we were both initially supposed to go back, but unfortunately, when they had called, we had planned a trip to Egypt. This was going to be like my brother's first time ever back to Egypt, and then this was going to be my first time back to Egypt in like 20 years. So we had planned that trip, and that trip, like, the filming of the show was supposed to happen right at the beginning of that trip. So after going back and forth for probably about a month or so, my brother couldn't make it work and he ended up kindly rejecting. But no, I said, cool, let's do it. And basically they told me this is just an opportunity for you to possibly get back on season 2. So it wasn't like, hey, you're guaranteed. Just, you know how it is. You got to show up. And this is as much as I could tell you.
Yeah,
That's
yeah, I
awesome.
didn't know your brother was invited back. We would have loved to see, the villain
Yes.
duo back on. So that's unfortunate, but I wouldn't bail out on a trip to Egypt. So
Yeah.
I ended up
for
still going.
real.
So it was all good. I got out
That's
so quick
nice.
that it was just like, all right, cool. I'm still on my way.
I'm trying to line up the timeline of when we prank called you with Gage, and you were like, I'm in
yeah.
Egypt, and it's like, yeah, I think
It
that was
was right
probably the same
after.
time.
Yeah, it
Oh
was
my
right
gosh.
after.
That's so funny.
Wait, that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I was right after. Literally left the show and got on a plane and went to Egypt.
Dang. I mean, that's a nice way to
Dang.
leave.
Yeah.
Right.
You're kind of
yeah.
fortunate to have gotten out early then, in a way. if you think
Yeah,
about
it
You
worked
have to do
itself
both.
out. It worked itself out. That's what I told myself going in, that it was okay, cool. I have goals that I want to achieve this season, but if they don't work out, it's not the end of the world because I get to take off to Egypt and I just get to have more time with my family and in my country a lot more. So it worked itself out.
So when you found out that you could potentially be in season 2, what was like your mindset going into it? Did you have any strategy?
I got to think back. This is a while ago.
Yeah.
I obviously knew that I was going to have the largest or one of the largest targets on my back. So it was very, 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 very unlikely that I was going to, win in any capacity. So I really had one of two strategies. It was one, I mean, we've talked about this before. I feel like I'm going to speak for myself, but I feel like I was severely misrepresented on season 1, which is okay. It was entertaining and that's all that mattered. But the idea was, okay, cool. I was misrepresented. Let me show people who Kareem really is. That was number one. And then number two, honestly, 100% honestly speaking, it was like first opportunity I get. I'm taking money and I'm leaving. I'm getting my bag and I'm out.
Right.
But obviously that didn't present itself.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it was call it a redemption arc. I don't really call it that because I don't feel like there was anything that was needing redemption. I back everything that I did in season 1, and it was more like, okay, cool. Well, there was misrepresentation, and I'm seen as a villain, which is fine, but that's not really who I am. So let's see if we can change that. But unfortunately, we just didn't get the time or the opportunity to.
So when you were up there and you did the whole reveal, did you think someone was going to take the 100K to bring you in?
No, I had zero doubt. I had zero conviction in my mind that I was gonna get in. And in my head, it was one of two things. It was either not everybody was gonna go and I wasn't gonna make it, or everybody was gonna make it back in. So it was very nerve-wracking because I was like, well, okay, this sounds like it's kind of that's it. I'm ready to go. I'm good to go. But while I was, because obviously we did a dry run the day before to like walk out the briefcases and everything to figure everything out production wise and in my head I was like, yeah, one of those two things is gonna happen. But as soon as we walked into the room, we hadn't taken our masks off or anything. As soon as we walked into the room, I was like, all 10 of us are going in. And then as soon as we took our masks off, I was like, you see reactions and you see how people are looking at it and they're like, all 10 of us are walking back into this game. That was my personal reaction to it. So it was still nerve wracking because I was like, well, I mean, that's just my personal opinion, but yeah.
Did you come up with a type of pitch that you were going to say to people if you had to convince someone to bring you in? Did you have something set beforehand or no?
It's really hard because it does not matter what I say. People literally have zero reason to believe me. It's my word against what they believe my actions are. So really, it's like, it's one of those things that is, I think they all told during production time, they were like, all right, this is your opportunity, make your pitch. And I was like, guys, I literally can't tell you anything to bring me back into this game. I was like, listen, if you want to cause chaos, throw me into this game. That's the best thing I could say. Because it doesn't matter what I say.
Yeah.
Everybody already has a preconceived notion.
Right.
And so at what point did you realize that Maddie's husband was in the games? Like, did they point that out immediately? What was that kind of like?
My mask wasn't even off yet, and I clocked it.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, I saw him because the way that I was standing, he was kind of off to my right, just enough where you don't really see him initially, but he was in my peripheral. But then you kind of turn your eye and you're like, oh wait, that's Luiston, and I was just like, oh, this is gonna get spicy before the mask is even on. I think at a certain point when cameras were off, because Akira was right next to me, I tilt my head to Akira and I was just like, Maddie's husband is right there.
Oh my gosh.
So you
Yeah, that
like
was
kind of knew it
genius.
was coming.
I clocked
All
it
that
immediately.
beef.
Yeah, I was just like, whoa,
Yeah.
all right, this is about to get spicy.
And yeah, so we saw in the episode, I mean, he immediately was coming after you. Did you expect it to be like so, I guess, harsh in a way, or just, I feel like it was just kept being pointed out over and over until obviously you got to the game, but
Obviously everybody's there to compete. And obviously there could only really be one winner, and you guys have experienced this as much as I have, but there's a certain point that you look at it and you're like, wait, okay, I'm probably not gonna win. Like statistically speaking, I'm probably not gonna win. I want to compete for as much as I can, but at a certain point, there's a good possibility I'm not even gonna go home with any money. So let me make the best of my experience, but also let me come out and have, try to get as much screen time, try to get a storyline, try to get something, right? And I think he clocked that very early, which just tells you how not a competitor he is. Because, dude, you're like in challenge number 2, and then you're going to make your entire purpose to get me out. Like, you still have a good chance to be able to go forward and compete, So, I mean, I figured it was going to be a storyline. There was a lot more BTS of him doing what he did on camera, but like taking it to like another extreme in person.
interesting.
Right.
Yeah.
So going into like, I guess the challenges and choosing your challenge, did anything influence you to choose Bluff? What did that decision look like for you?
Well, again, I knew I had a target on my back. And I looked at the 4 options, and when I saw a ball, I was like, there's such a high possibility that's going to be dodgeball. Like, I have a target on my back. That's not even a question for me. I'm not even going that direction. And then you look at balance. A lot of strong people, high, like athletes, fitness and whatnot, were going over to balance. And then in my head, okay, it could have been, literally you're balancing on something, or like how it ended up playing out where you're balancing weight or something like that. And that was a very large risk because I'm not going to be able to compete with those individuals. And then I saw blocks. So it was between blocks and bluff. And I kind of waited for my decision to be last minute. And I just went with my gun. I said, okay, cool. I mean, it's what people think they know me for. Let's test it out and see if we can make this make sense. And I feel like I understand, I can gauge people, and I can tell when people are bluffing pretty easily. So that was in my head, like, okay, cool. If it was like a poker type of thing where it's 1v1, like steal, no steal, that type of situation, maybe I have a good opportunity and I can play some mind games and make from some good teeth. But the challenge didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go.
When they revealed what the challenge was, how did you feel? Like, did you feel like you had a good chance, or what was your mindset after that? Because I was expecting like a briefcase game like we
Yeah.
see Mr. Beast do all the time.
Yeah, obviously still humongous target on my back, and at that point, I had a little bit of time to be able to connect with a couple of people and a couple of individuals and allow them, like, I was just me, so they saw who I was, and, that was the best chance that I was gonna try to go forward, is to group up with people that were good individuals that I can truly connect with, and, they were able to open up, I was able to open up about my life, and that challenge took a lot longer than it did on TV. I think by the time I got out, we had maybe on TV, we had maybe run 2 or 3 rounds. In reality, we probably had run like 8 or 9 or 10 rounds at that point. And nobody was getting out. Nobody was lying to anybody. Nobody was getting out.
Right.
Somebody lied to somebody very, very early on, but it was like we had so much time to be able to go into those circles that I can literally come in and ask Ivy, hey, what's on the back of my head? And you get a color. And then I'll turn around and ask Ava, hey, what's on the back of my head? You know what I mean? So it's like, yeah, whoever tried to lie, they tried to lie way too early on. And they ended up, I personally did not like the game and the way that the game ended up running down, but they blindfolded us. And, you would stand around the circle next to people that you trust. So you're able to go in and ask questions. And then at a certain point, they started moving us around, like randomizing us. And that was the second time that they had randomized us. And it's hard because you don't know who's next to you and you really got to know people. So nobody helped me out. And then I went up to the circle and there was an individual name there. His name was Tyler. And I thought he was my friend. It's okay. He was playing a game. I forgive him. Not a big deal. But I was just like, hey, what's on the back of my head? What's on the back of my head? And then he pointed to blue. So that was that.
Dang.
Yeah.
So, yeah, what I remember from the episode, it looked like everyone just ignored you. But are you saying that he directed you to the wrong one? Like he lied to you?
Well,
Or
everybody ignored me up until I pulled up to the blue circle and I asked him. And when you're in a time crunch, it's really hard to make a split decision, right? So it's like, I think we had 10 seconds or something like that to get in a circle. So honestly speaking, even if he hadn't said anything to me, I would have literally just walked into the blue one because it's like, I got to get into somewhere, But from what I had saw, he was like pointing down to the blue circle. He may have been pointing somewhere else. I don't know, but that was just a decision that I made then. As soon as I walked in the circle, I know it was done. They did a whole slow reveal. They showed all the other colors all the way around. Nobody was talking to me. I was just like, yeah, I'm done. Over. I'm out.
Dang. Yeah, that made us so angry. We were reacting to it, and we were like, that just stinks. Like, if nobody's, like, talking to you, you can't really base off of their bluff either. Like,
Yeah.
it would have been
That's
more
not really-
entertaining if they had tried to lie, like you're saying Tyler did.
Yeah. It's okay. It's part of the game, but it
was
is what
kind
it
of
is.
unbelievable, though, to me, like how I wonder how many rounds they did go before they ended up doing the chance. But like, oh my gosh, it must have taken forever. And we said this, we've been saying this, we talked to Akira yesterday, and it's like, you chose bluff. You chose to do a lying game, but no one lied. And it's just, that sucks from a production standpoint because it's just like, what do you even show?
The hard part,
no
hard part psychologically is you got to remember this is like round. Like if this bluff game, I'm not saying this, but like the idea of a bluff game was done a lot later on in the show, it would make a lot more sense because you're
I agree.
you're in challenge 2. You know what I mean? Like nobody wants to be seen as a liar that early on. So then it's just like, okay, cool. I'm going to choose the bluff game. But then you're looked at as like, no, I'm going to lie to you to win. Okay, well, you're ruthless. You're just trying to play the game. Now you have a target on your back, even though you're literally just trying to play the game. So the psychology behind it is very interesting because it's like, if that was later on, I guarantee you people would bluff. You know what I mean? If it's like top 10, oh yeah, people would lie their butts off. But early on, I don't think it made a whole lot of sense to introduce a bluff game. It was very interesting because I was first one out, right? And it took forever. Like they had me in a holding room after I changed, and it took forever to get the rest of the people out into that holding room of like everybody out during that challenge. And it took a while. I can only imagine how many rounds they actually continued to go through, which is crazy that I was the only one that was lied to.
Yeah.
And then everybody else was out on chance.
Yeah.
I think Sasha, she stepped in the circle wrong, and I think everybody else was pretty much out on chance, which was kind of wild.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was crazy. I wish it would have been more entertaining to watch, but that's a really good point to make, how it was just so early in the game. Like, no one wants to
Yeah.
become the villain that early. So
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
And
they
I
saw
feel
the
like
mindset.
you see how ostracized you get once you're labeled as the villain, which
Right.
Yeah.
I think a future season, heroes versus villains, would be crazy. That would be such a
that
cool
would be
season.
crazy.
That would be
That would be
crazy.
cool. That would
We
be
know
really
who
cool.
would be coming. We know.
Yeah, we know who'd be there.
You guys know, next time I tell you I'm in Egypt, you know what I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's so funny.
So
yeah.
knowing now what you know about all the challenges, are you happy with your pick, or is there a different one you wish in a way you had picked instead?
Hindsight is always 2020. And I try to live my life by not regretting any decisions. So in no way, shape, or form do I regret the decision I made. But if I have the knowledge today of just the challenges, not even how it transpired, just the
Yeah.
challenges, I would have probably picked the balance game. I think I would have had a lot better of an
Okay.
advantage there, and just not necessarily a better advantage, but been able to do a lot better in that.
I'm very hesitant of the balance game because I feel like once you get down to, like, you have so many rocks on there, it's like chance at that point. But obviously
Yeah,
you wouldn't know going in, but
yeah, it's I think on that game it's all strategy. I mean, you got to go with the biggest rocks early on, right? But then it's dependent on how quickly you start weeding down to smaller rocks. You really want to save the small rocks till the end.
Mm.
But if you start using them too early, then it really can be up to chance kind of at that point, where it's like I put a
Yeah.
rock on and then you put a rock on and you're safe, but I put the tiniest pebblest rock on and then it flips over. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, and then so what's your opinion on, I guess we already talked about bluff, balance, and balls kind of in the beginning. What was your opinion on the blocks game? Do you think
What happened in the
it
blocks game
looks like
again?
really difficult? They had to build them all the way up to grab the flag. Like, I don't know, how high was it? I don't
Oh
even
yeah, that was pretty
remember.
high. Actually, no, I changed my opinion. I would have gone with the blocks game just because you're in a
Really?
team capacity. I think I had a disadvantage going into individual games. So if I can
Yeah.
pick team games, I think I have a better chance to move forward. That looked really high. Yeah, that looked very, very high. I actually
Yeah.
watched the premiere with Mitch, the guy that was
Oh,
on top
cool.
when he won. He's in Vegas, so that was pretty cool. Kind of got to hear his second opinion and whatnot on it. I think I probably would have picked that one. That looked hard. But you could have also coasted very easily if you didn't do very much,
For
and you could have
sure.
also been a very big part of it if you did a lot. I'm sure there was a lot of BTS there, people coasting, not doing much, and people getting pissed off at it. But I would have probably did that, and definitely would have helped build stuff and bring stuff up. I've been on top of the tower, no shot
Yeah.
on that one.
Yeah. I would not be the climber for sure.
No, yeah. No, definitely not. And those blocks are ginormous. Like, I
And
can't even imagine how heavy they are.
respectfully speaking to the team captain that picked, I mean, I love everybody that I love the OGs. I love every single one of them, right? Like we've built a lot of relationships, not every single one of them, but we built a lot of relationships outside of the show. But to the guy that picked the OGs to be on his team, bro, like what the challenge is. Pick the strong people. What are we doing? Pick the athletic people, dude.
Yeah, it was funny how he picked all of them first, it looked like, too. Like, all the OGs got taken up
Yeah.
first.
Yeah.
So, did you watch episode 3, the obstacle
No,
course?
no, I actually haven't seen it yet.
Okay, well, we won't spoil it for you, but you should really watch it. It's pretty entertaining. And,
It's really good.
you know, going back to your heroes versus villains idea, there's a villain. So,
Yeah.
You know what's funny?
Yeah, there's
Okay,
a
so I
villain
haven't
there,
even
too.
so I haven't seen episode 3 yet, right? So I don't know what happens. I just haven't gotten around to it. But I saw it from the trailer. I
Yeah.
saw the beef from the trailer. And I mean I might just be talking out of my butt and might not know what I'm talking about, but Eric and Tyler going at it.
Mhm.
I think that's what it
Mhm.
is, right? That's what it is.
Well,
And something else.
there's
Something else,
there's
too.
something else. I
Somebody
don't want to
else?
say it
Okay.
though. Yeah.
Okay.
I
Okay.
mean, and it seems like in episode 4, we're going to have another person who's a villain, too.
Okay, tell me. Go ahead. It doesn't matter. I'm gonna watch it anyways.
Well,
Tell me.
okay. Well,
I give you full permission so I can give you my reaction to who becomes a villain. I
in
have
the
a feeling.
obstacle course, it was similar to like Eric and Tyler, but Ian, he waited at the end and waited for, I think his name was Mike. He went without his stick,
Yeah.
and so he was defenseless, and then Ian just like pushed him off when
Yeah.
Ian, they both could have just went, because there was 2 more spots, right, Ivy? Or
Yeah,
was it
like,
one?
they both-
Yeah.
I think
They
it was
both
either
could've
2 or
went.
3. Like, they could
And the
definitely
villains-
make it through.
The villain's still in the game right now?
Yeah, he made
Yeah.
it through.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
Ian. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's a brutal scene, Kareem. He's like begging, he's like, please, like I'm doing this for my
Like, my
family. And then the
family.
guy just shoves him off. It was brutal.
Okay, I
Yeah.
might be able, if they do a heroes versus villains season and I come back, I may not be the worst villain after.
Yeah, yeah.
As long as I'm not the worst
literally.
villain, that's all that matters. As long as there's worse villains, then we're good.
Right.
Yeah. And then after the obstacle course, there's Captain Bribe again.
Okay.
And so it's teams of 5. And the cliffhanger was Jeff is one of the captains, yeah.
Yeah.
But the cliffhanger was it went black and then Jimmy goes, someone took the bribe. So we know someone took it.
Oh, okay, but we don't know
Yeah.
who it was. But there's a
Yeah, we
possibility
don't know
it
who.
could have been Jeff.
Yeah, there's
How
a
much,
possibility.
how
it
much
could
was the
have been.
bribe?
A
A
million.
million.
It was the same as last year. It was
Yeah.
like counting up. So
How many
Right.
captains were
someone
there?
took it. 5?
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense.
4 or 5. Oh no, there's
That
5
makes
because I
sense.
remember Jimmy was like, so statistically, there's more.
Yeah.
Like there's
was
more of
more
a
than
chance that
last
someone
year.
will take it than last year.
Yeah.
And
which
before
makes a lot of
they-
sense. I think we just got really, really, really lucky
Oh
with
my
the
gosh.
4 captains that we had up there that didn't
Yeah,
take the bribe.
right.
Also, the other thing is like how many people were on the team?
5.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also the other thing. You're only getting 5 people out versus last season it
Exactly.
was 60 people or 80 people or something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
So it's like
that's what I
that's
was
going to
just
weigh a
say.
lot more on your heart than getting 5 people out. So very
Yeah.
interesting. The game psychology of this all is very, very interesting. I think that's what
Mhm.
intrigues me the most. That's why I like this these games.
Yeah. And then they'll be a villain because it's the same as last year. Like they stay in the game, so
Yeah.
they have the mill under their belt.
So
But
there's gonna be
this
2
time they're
villains.
going in to the top 20. They're gonna be in the
Yeah.
top 20 once that happens,
That's
which is a
crazy.
lot better than I don't even know what it was at last year if they had taken the bribe, but
Yeah, I don't even.
It doesn't honestly. It doesn't even matter because you look at JC last year and he took the 650 and it was top 10 and ostracized. Like that's
yeah.
it's one of those things that you just that's the hard part is you do something where you become the villain. It's not looked at as you're playing the game. It's looked at as you're a villain versus like you go look at like Survivor and stuff like that. It's you are praised for making strategic moves.
Right.
But not
And
like crazy
blindsiding people.
blindsiding people where you're
Right.
like, okay, cool, like that was really, really good. I mean, obviously you don't want to do it too early because then people start not liking you, but you do that later on. They're like, okay, cool. You played the game when you have, what is it, Final Tribal? When you play the
Mhm.
game, then you go and you're like, yeah, you did. And I'm like, it's crazy how that happened. But you go back and you look at,
Yeah.
early seasons of Survivor, that wasn't the case. So it's very interesting how that works.
Mhm.
Yeah. Very
Yeah.
interesting.
And that's why I think like bringing bribes into a game like that, it just makes such a difference because, you have more opportunity to win something, but also
Mhm.
I think the
like
hard part
betray
is
other
not
people, I guess.
Yeah, I think the hard part is not that you took the money. I think anybody can understand that you took the money. I think it's I'm not gonna get you guys out. Like when you give your word, I'm not gonna do anything,
Yeah.
and then you go
Mhm.
against your word, then you're just not a man or woman of your word, So I think
Yeah.
that's what like irks people on more than you taking the bribe. Because I think anybody listen, $1 million is $1 million. Like, come on,
Mhm.
guys. like make it make sense. You know what I mean?
Kareem, this year they did something really cool though, where Jimmy read out a list of why the people, like they had written down before the season started, why they're competing and like what the money would do for their lives. And Jimmy read
Okay.
it out before like before the money started going up for the captains to like
Yeah.
almost burst their bubble, like set them back in reality. Like you're not just in a game. Like this could change
Yeah,
your
like,
life.
It's like there's 4 people that they have to eliminate. And it's like a lot of people have a family of 5. And it's like, so you're picking these 4 people that you met a few weeks ago
Over.
compared to your whole family. Like, I think
Yeah.
season 1 was different because of the amount of people that you were eliminating. But like, yeah, so this season, I think it's a lot easier for someone to just say
I
yes.
also
Yeah,
just
for sure.
know 3 of the 4 captains fairly well. I didn't meet Harrison a lot, so I didn't get to talk to him a whole lot. Jeremy, I have a very strong relationship with, and then obviously Twana in the game, we connected very, very well. And then Dino, we have a decent relationship there, but enough to be able to somewhat, hopefully correctly, be able to judge their character. And they're the type of people that it's like, if they give their word, they're not gonna go against it. And then
Right.
Twana's just an animal. She just she wants to win. That's all it is for her. She wants to win.
Yeah, for sure. So I guess kind of starting to wrap up, what's your opinion on the season so far? Do you like how different it is, but also has some similarities? What are your thoughts? Even though you didn't see episode
Yeah,
3
I
yet.
mean, I've been asked about my feedback from the Beast team multiple times. The biggest thing that I had said during it is the spectacle was really, really cool, but I just, after a while, like, you just grow numb to it almost. So the spectacle in the beginning is cool, but then after that, like, let's build connections, let's build relationships, let's build storylines. Because that's, even though I knew everybody in the show, that from an outside perspective looking in, that's what it felt like. That it wasn't until like episode 8 or 9 that we actually got to know some of these contestants, and then build as a viewer, build a connection with them. And then because I build a connection with you and I become a fan of you, then I'm going to continue watching it. That's the human aspect of it. So I think they're doing a fantastic job of that so far. Like, there's a lot of people in there that, I mean, we're still very fast paced, but I mean, we're top 20 and by episode 4, I think you're gonna have a lot more story development than that. So I like that so far. I actually think the challenges are a lot better. There's not a multitude of self-sacrifice challenges, which is dope. A lot more skill challenges, which is cool. I'm very, very happy with it.
Yeah,
I think the rest of the season 2 is gonna be like elite. And
Yeah.
it's gonna be crazy. I'm excited for the upcoming episodes, and yeah, they definitely listened to the feedback from the public. Everyone wanted more storytelling, and yeah, I mean, 2,000 people is a lot to start with, so it makes sense. But I think season 1, it gave a great base as to what they're building for season 2 and even season 3 too. You see
Yeah.
so many similarities in season 2 from season 1, but just better.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I think every season is just going to get better and better. So one day maybe we'll get to the heroes and villains season.
Yes.
I think it'll be dope.
yes.
I actually very, very excited for. I mean, you saw in the trailers and whatnot that there's red cubes. I'm very, very excited for
Mhm.
those. I want to
Oh
see
my gosh, yeah.
the strategies that are going to play. I mean, obviously, I have a personal connection with those cubes, but I want to
Right.
see the strategies that they're going to be using. And I think, if Beast Games goes on to be a staple and goes on and gets renewed for many, many more shows, I think the red cubes is going to be a staple challenge, because you've already seen the Beast team bring it back for. I think they did it on the YouTube video, and then they did just a recent one with all the celebrities. So I think that's one of those that's going to be a staple. So it's, people have seen it, they've watched it, they've seen strategies, they've seen good strategies and bad strategies. So I'm just very curious as to how that's going to develop.
I think I'm pretty sure episode 5 is cubes. It's Ask What You Want. I think that's the title.
That's probably
Which
what
obviously,
it is, then, yeah.
I'm assuming it's cubes. But yeah, so that's 2 weeks from now. Next week's the Survivor episode. Are you
Yeah.
excited for the Survivor crossover?
I am so stinking excited for the Survivor episode. I am such a huge Survivor fan. Like, I don't watch it every day in and out and stuff like that, but I've watched it growing up, and I am so excited to see what they do on this episode. And it has me very, very motivated to start training, because I don't know if they would ever take me, but it would be really cool to train for Survivor.
Mhm.
So we're working on it. We're doing a lot of weight loss right now, but I don't know. Maybe I might be on Survivor one day.
Yes.
You got to send in your audition. You never know.
Let me train. I gotta train first. Let me train first, and then we'll send the audition.
Yeah. Let's prep first. That's
Yeah,
what
we're
I
gonna
feel like.
prep for it.
Survivor challenges are like pretty unique in a way.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
compared to other TV shows. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's definitely something to train for sure. Okay, well, I think that kind of wraps up our discussion. I guess final thoughts would be for you to. I'm gonna roll out the red carpet for you if you want to do any shout outs for your socials, anything you have coming up that you want the public to know about, and any advice, I guess, that you have for maybe future players.
Uh, Yeah, I would say, yeah, I mean, if you're ever going on a TV show or Beast Games or any TV show, I'd really, really, really be cognizant of being 100% your true authentic self. I think it's very, very evident when you are not your true authentic self. And speaking from somebody that has had, even though in the cubes, I was playing the game as best as I could and I was being my true authentic self. Obviously, editing is editing, but the stuff that you do on national television, it seeps into your daily lives. Like, you got to be careful. Like, I've gotten death threats. My brother's gotten death threats. People have tried to get my brother fired from from his job. I literally my current job. I walked into my job interview and my boss was like, "Hey, I know you from somewhere." Clocked in like 3 seconds. So it's just be your true authentic self. That way, whatever ends up being presented on TV, you're happy about, and don't be annoying. That's all I can say. When you get in person, do not annoy people, because that just like kills your chances.
I think that's
Mhm.
valid advice, and it's always good to hear advice from the quote unquote villain. Okay, if someone in season 2 has a villain edit, what would you want to say
Ooh.
then? That probably, or anything more than that?
Advice for like after the show, or like,
Yeah, like handling being painted as the villain.
You just gotta have thick skin, honestly speaking. Like, you gotta think of it this way, that I speak from my experience as a Muslim immigrant. I've always been treated with, what's the word? Prejudice. That's the word. I've always walked into a lot of rooms and whatnot with prejudice. And that's one thing that I just like, you learn how to do, and you'll learn how to come up from a negative. But that's gonna be, it's gonna, depending on how you're perceived on TV, your character is gonna get called into question a lot, and that's a hard thing for a lot of people to go through if their character has never been called into question, which I think a lot of people, if they are good people, then their character doesn't get called into question, because that's just how the situation is. But you just gotta have tough skin. Like, you're gonna get the nastiest DMs, you're gonna get the craziest things, you're gonna get people that are, again, literally threatening to come and do something, and then they know you, they have your address, so it just be careful. Gotta have the thick skin and enjoy the limelight, I guess. There's really not there's really not a whole lot to enjoy about the being in the spotlight, other than like maybe a little bit of attention. But if the attention is negative and you don't, respectfully, if you don't make money off of it, like, what's the point? You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's pretty valid advice. So hopefully the villains of season 2 will be watching this podcast.
Yes.
Hopefully.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. I'm so glad we got to chat about it. I'm glad we got to see you in the season. You know, the reveal was sick. So
yeah,
that
crazy.
alone is pretty cool.
I might change my profile picture now to me going.
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
you
the
should.
reveal.
That's awesome.
But that's it for this interview. Thank you. But that's it for this podcast episode. Thank you so much for listening along. I hope you enjoyed hearing from Karim. And make sure to subscribe to our channel, like this video, and stay tuned for more behind the scenes content of Beast Game Season 2 coming out soon, along with exclusive interviews with Season 2 guests. But that's it from us.
See ya.